right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Halloween show. This is episode 56. It is Friday, November 5th, 2021. Welcome to the show, guys. That's right, it is the first Friday, our first episode after Halloween 2021, I should say. But all that really means around here, because every day is Halloween, it doesn't mean a whole lot. All it really means is it's the first Friday of Halloween 2022. So let me be the very first to wish you all a very happy Halloween 2022. Thank you for joining me tonight for tonight's episode. I got a fun one lined up for you. I was lucky enough to conduct two very cool interviews this week. The first of which, dropped yesterday with filmmaker and musician Chrissy Fox, and we're going to be highlighting a clip from that tonight and talking a little bit about our conversation, as well as another interview we're going to be officially announcing tonight with yet another Halloween Kills cast member, and we're actually going to premiere a preview of that interview in just a few minutes. Then after all of that, we're going to do a full breakdown of the new official trailer for The Barn Part 2. I talked about this briefly last week, and I said there'd be a trailer breakdown coming, so we're going to do that at the end of tonight's show, and we're going to do it live so that you guys can help me out with it and check that out. So stick around for all of that. Before we get into the headlines, how was your Halloween, everybody? I hope you're doing well. Happy Halloween. I see Chad is in here. Brad, Chad, Byron, Ken. Awesome. Let's what is that? Lagatake. I'm sorry I'm butchering your name, but thank you for being here. I see that Michael Myers and that butcher knife over there. Very cool. Before we continue that stuff, though, we do have some news to talk about this week. Quite a bit of news, so let's get into the headlines. And first up, we're going to go over here to the main site, HalloweenDailyNews.com, and talk about this a little bit. But first up, we got news about Marvel's much anticipated Werewolf Halloween special. And we first learned about this over the summer. You might remember we reported on this story back, it was a few months ago, that Marvel Studios is developing a new Werewolf Halloween special for Disney+. And this week we got news of who is going to lead the cast of that Halloween special, courtesy of The Wrap, the great Humberto Gonzalez over on The Wrap, ace scooper himself. He broke the story about this project being in development, and he broke the story this week that Gael Garcia Bernal has been cast in the lead role for Marvel's Werewolf Halloween special. They were searching specifically for a Latino lead. This is an as yet untitled Halloween special, and it is apparent now that they have settled on Golden Globe winning Mexican actor Bernal. And this is a werewolf-focused property, according again to The Wrap and Humberto, who says he has info from individuals with knowledge of the project. So, of course, there's a lot of rumors that this is based on the title Werewolf by Night, which is actually a werewolf character, and an identity that has been claimed by a couple different characters in the course of the Marvel Comics universe. How all this will tie into the MCU is yet to be determined, as well as what exactly a Marvel Halloween special is. They haven't quite clarified yet if this is going to be like a one-time made for Disney Plus movie, or if it's actually going to be something more like a limited series. I'm thinking 4 episodes to run each week in October, to premiere each week in October. And As I said in my first article on this, I certainly wouldn't mind if Marvel were to start doing these Halloween specials every year, and I could totally see that possibly being the case if this is a success, which I imagine it's going to be. I mean, you take the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you add in some darker elements, a werewolf anti-hero, and set it around Halloween time with the Hallosphere as your backdrop. Yeah, I think it's a slam dunk. So obviously we're excited for this. Thrilled with this casting announcement. You might have just saw Barnell in the M. Night Shyamalan film that was released earlier this year called Old. And he's been in a ton of stuff. He's a great actor. So I'm sure he's going to do awesome in this. And we're very excited that Disney is so in the Halloween spirit and bringing Marvel with it. After just a little taste in WandaVision earlier this year, it looks like they're going all in with an actual Halloween special. And that's the way it's been termed in the Wrap's first two reports on this. And they've had the exclusive on that we're all kind of going on at this point. So again, is it going to be Werewolf by Night? I imagine there's probably a good chance it will be, even if it's not an exact adaptation of either two of the existing characters. I imagine it'll be some kind of amalgamation of them, made more for the current MCU. Also, this week, and looking ahead for 2022, social media influencer Josh Richards announced a new Halloween comedy film. He's partnering with STX Films for a movie that he's going to direct and star in. It's called Halloween Party, and that's not to be confused with another horror movie called Halloween Party that was released on VOD last year and is unrelated to this. Deadline reported earlier this week that STX Films has entered into a first look deal with Richards' own Crosscheck Studios, and which he found. And Richards, if you don't know, he's an internet entrepreneur and what they call a mega influencer. He's 19 years old, and he's got a 40 million follower reach, including most of which are over 25 million on TikTok alone. But the plot of this film sounds pretty fun. Halloween Party is about two friends on the fringes of Hollywood who go on a hunt for a crazy gamer's fabled Halloween party, a quest that takes them through legendary ragers, haunted mansions, and the hidden depths of their own friendship as they try to get a taste of Hollywood glamour. So that's according to that report from Deadline that came out earlier this week. We'll definitely be keeping close tabs on this project as well. I'm not familiar with Richards or his work on social media, but the plot of the film definitely sounds like it has potential. And yeah, we need more adult Halloween comedies, R-rated. It sounds like it's going to be kind of like a R-rated Halloween comedy, I imagine. Richards will direct and star in the film, and it's written by uh, Nick Sion and Annie Harnick. We assume this is going to be going before cameras early next year for an October 2022 release. And the big news this week, guys, is actually Hocus Pocus 2. On Halloween Day, we got some pretty big news regarding the film. Now, I told you last week on last Friday's episode that filming had begun on this highly anticipated sequel. Well, now we've got the full cast. The full cast of principal actors were announced on Halloween Day. So I recorded a video article, and here's more on that story. Hocus Pocus 2. Check it out, guys. Hocus Pocus 2 is now filming, and Disney gave us all a treat on Halloween Day when they officially revealed the full cast for this highly anticipated sequel. This teaser video was posted throughout social media on October 31st with an announcement proclaiming that the Black Flame candle is a light to the Sanderson sisters' delight. Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy shall soon return, joined by new faces which you soon will learn. In addition to those three stars of the original 1993 Halloween family classic, another legacy cast member is returning, as the great Doug Jones was among those announced. Doug Jones, of course, played Billy Butcherson in the original film. He's probably the greatest creature performer working today, if not all time. And he could certainly be brought back to play any type of new role. It's not specifically stated in this announcement that he's playing Billy again, but for now, we'll assume that he is back once again in the role of Billy Butcherson. Also joining the cast, as we reported last week, is Sam Richardson. I just saw him this summer in the Amazon Prime movie, The Tomorrow War, with Chris Pratt. We are going to be taking a look at some of these new cast members' Instagram posts from Halloween weekend as we go through the lineup here. Another face you might recognize is Tony Hale. He is well known for the HBO series Veep. He's currently in the Clifford the Big Red Dog film. He has also joined the cast of Hocus Pocus 2, along with Hannah Waddingham of Ted Lasso. And now into our new young leads. This is Whitney Peak. She will co-star along with Lilia Buckingham, Belissa Escobedo, Froy Gutierrez, Juju Brenner, and Taylor Henderson. Ann Fletcher is directing from a script by Jen D'Angelo. An early synopsis for the sequel explains three young women accidentally bring the Sanderson sisters back to modern-day Salem and must figure out how to stop the child-hungry witches from wreaking a new kind of havoc on the world. Hocus Pocus 2 will be released for Halloween 2022 on Disney+. Yeah, so let me hear your thoughts on that. Pretty cool casting announcements right there. And just great to finally see movement on this project. As I've said before, for my personal viewing, Hocus Pocus was a little bit just not timed right for me on its initial release. I was in high school in the 90s when it came out, and it just wasn't really on my radar at the time. Of course, years later, as a parent, I rediscovered it, and that's really been the case for the movie. It didn't really do that great at the box office at the time. It was actually released in the summer of '93, and of course now it's become a family classic, much beloved by multiple generations. So I have no doubt that this is going to be one of the biggest things that Disney Plus has ever done, and right up there with like The Mandalorian and everything they're doing with the MCU. So very excited to see some movement on this. They are filming right now. We talked about that a little bit last week. There's been some photos that have come out from the set, including what looks like a recreation of a 1600s village. So it looks like we're going to get another flashback to the Sanderson sisters before they were executed and back into the 1600s. And so let me know your thoughts on this cast. I think they all sound really good. I am unfamiliar with most of the younger cast members, but I look forward to learning more about them. But everybody I am familiar with, it sounds great. And of course, I'm most excited that they're bringing the great Doug Jones back in, presumably once again as Billy. So that it just wouldn't be right otherwise. And I'm just so happy to hear that part of the announcement specifically. That just definitely solidifies my excitement for this whole thing. But if you're watching this on a replay, let me know down in the comments below. And if you're here in the live chat, I'd love to hear your thoughts on any of these stories, but especially that Hocus Pocus 2 cast announcement. Is that something that you're looking forward to? As always, you can learn more about all of these stories and everything we're going to talk about tonight anytime at HalloweenDailyNews.com. Nola Ray says, I wonder if the original three kids will cameo. I've been wondering that myself. My gut guess is they probably will. I mean, they're all, still around, still in the business. I think it truly makes sense that would be something they would want to try to include to hit that nostalgia button, but they're probably going to want to keep that as tightly under wraps as possible, I imagine. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all, especially considering how Star Wars and now the Halloween franchise, that's kind of the way of things, do the sequels, but incorporate the reboot factor, but also incorporate the legacy characters as well to hit that nostalgia button. So I have no doubt they'll probably have a few surprise cameos from that original film that haven't been announced yet, and might not even be announced ahead of time. They might just be surprises if they can keep them on lockdown long enough. So that'll be cool. Ace Fall Guy says first time live, but watched many of your videos. Great stuff. Thank you so much, Ace Fall Guy. A toast to you, sir. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Welcome to being here live. Yeah, the Halloween show on our Friday show, sometimes it's pre-recorded, sometimes it's different time slots, but these last few weeks in October, we were right in our Monday time slot, our late night 10:31 p.m., so that seems to be working right now. So thanks for being here, man. And yeah, anybody that watches on the replays, thanks for checking those out as well. Of course, let your thoughts be heard. I'd love to hear from any of you on any of these topics we're talking about tonight, whether it's here in the live chat or down in the comments below. So thank you so much. And I see that the great Chad Francis has donated a $5 super chat tonight. Thank you so much, Chad, one of our good friends. I know he wasn't feeling well and missed the last few weeks. So I hope you're feeling better, buddy. And thanks for being here tonight. We really appreciate that $5 super chat. Cheers to you, man. Let's see. Krista D says, hey, hello, welcome. Welcome to the Halloween show. All right. And again, feel free if you're just getting caught up to chime in on the casting news about Hocus Pocus 2, the casting news about Marvel's Werewolf, possibly Werewolf by Night, Halloween special coming for Disney Plus. And if you're familiar with Josh Richards, is he fit to bring us a new Halloween comedy classic? Because that's what we're looking for. We want something that's going to be annual viewing, and I think the time's right. I mean, we've got some really good family-oriented comedies, even some that have come out in recent years. You know, Tyler Perry did a couple Medea Halloweens, and there's a lot of, but like a good kind of R-rated Halloween comedy, young people, kind of a teen romp type thing, but set on Halloween in search of a legendary Halloween party. I think, you know, through the party world on Halloween night of Hollywood, and clearly when they say on the fringes of Hollywood, I think they mean, you know, social media influencers, not quite, you know, like TikTok famous versus movie star famous. And you know, if it's done smartly, is that the right word? I don't think I'm smartly right now. If it's done well and written smart enough, again, I think it's got a lot of potential. So I'm looking forward to following the development of that project. But definitely that Marvel Werewolf Halloween special, and of course Hocus Pocus 2. I mean, how can you not be excited for that? So 2022 is already shaping up to be an insanely awesome year for Halloween entertainment, especially when you look at just the movies that we've got lined up coming next year. Everything from Halloween Ends and Hocus Pocus 2 and this werewolf special to stuff like Terrifier 2, The Barn 2, which we're going to talk about in just a few minutes. So many good ones that are on tap, that are on the way for next year. And that's just a little taste. There's lots more. You can find out about all of them in the movies section at HalloweenDailyNews.com. I want to talk now about one of the recent interviews, our most recent interviews that we did just this past week, just a few days ago. I had the pleasure of chatting with Chrissy Fox, and she is a super talented, extremely cool filmmaker, musician. She is a writer. She's an actor. She really does it all, and she's worked on a ton of cool projects that we were already a fan of, and that you guys will recognize. And now, most recently, she has moved into really just producing, writing, directing, and making her own films and incorporating. I mean, she scores them herself. She acts in them, and it was a really fun conversation getting to know more about her. We actually connected for the first time. We at HDN first became aware of her work at our own Halloween International Film Festival in 2020 when her short film was an official selection. That film is called What the Spell. It's a really cool witch movie, a short film, a witch film, and we loved it. It's got kind of an edgy tone. It's kind of dark, a little bit of The Craft, but a little more modern, and a little more just kind of off off the rails funny. Like you don't expect some of the comedic moments, and she's got a really cool style of filmmaking. So if you haven't checked out that interview, I urge you to do that. We dropped the full interview yesterday. It is already up on the channel right now, as well as on the site, so you can find it there. And we talk about everything that has led her to this point where she's at now, which is her feature film, Frank. It is a monster movie. It co-stars Bonnie Aarons, who plays the nun. And but we talked about everything that's led her to that point. I mean, she appeared as a vampire in one of my favorites, Underworld Evolution. She got to do fight scenes with Kate Beckinsale on that, and we talked quite a bit about that and how that experience helped go a long way in shaping herself and taught her some things that she would use later in her own filmmaking. And we also talked about her songwriting. She's written songs for a lot of bands, including a massive hit you've probably heard. It's called Bad Girlfriend by the band Theory of a Dead Man. She co-wrote that song for them. And we talk about all of this, as well as What the Spell and everything that's led up to this, and some of her future projects as well, which sound really cool, and we're going to be keeping an eye on and covering here on the site as well. And of course, we talked about Halloween itself, celebrating the holiday and what the holiday means to her. Now, in this clip I'm about to play, this is a bit about the feature film Frank. And she's going to tell you a little bit about what you can expect from the story. It is a very ambitious story that she's telling, but I have to say, I've seen the film. It's really well made. It's got some great acting, beautiful cinematography, and I'm going to let her tell you more about it right here. It does have a really cool monster, though. It's all done practically, so you want to check that out. It's out now on VOD. You can find it, I think, on Amazon Prime and lots of VOD outlets. It's just called Frank, and you can look for Krissy's name on it. And it's written and directed by her, and of course, she acts in it as well. But right in the beginning of this interview, you're going to get just a little taste of the Halloween aspect, or like I like to say, the Halloween atmosphere, my new term. I think I've told you guys, I know I tweeted it out, but my new term for Halloween atmosphere is Hallosphere. Okay, I'm always talking about it. So, but that's where this clip begins, is just a little bit about the Hallosphere that is present in Frank. It is, in fact, a Halloween movie as well. So check out that interview, but first, stick around and check out this exclusive clip from my exclusive new interview with Chrissy Fox. Check it out.
Well, it did take place, the last story, on Halloween. So that's,
there we go.
When I wanted to incorporate Halloween really badly in at least one of the stories. And so I didn't know at that time that the film was going to come out so close to Halloween. Obviously, I hoped it would.
Yeah.
But I didn't have control over that. So I just was like, I don't care. I'm just going to make this the Halloween story because I felt like it needed that. And it makes the vibe more fun,
Yeah. Oh, totally. Totally. And it totally worked for everything they're doing. I mean, that's the day when the veil is thinnest, like we all know. And so it totally works with the themes and everything. So Frank is out now, and this is your feature film debut. Mm-hmm. Can you tell our audience a little bit about what it's about?
Yeah. Okay. So I play a character named Ruby Chase, and basically Ruby finds herself in a terrible situation, as a lot of people do, where she's in a relationship with a guy who is abusive, and he comes home one night with his friends and he's messed up on drugs. He's out of it. He's getting violent with her, and things take a turn, and she's afraid he's going to kill her. So she starts praying, and she's not a religious person. She feels like she doesn't really know what she's doing, and she just puts something out there. And the thing that answers her is Frank, this towering demon monster
Mm-hmm.
who basically makes her pledge a lifetime of servitude to him, to it. He's not a him. That to help her get out of this situation. So he does, and it does, and Ruby can't take the darkness of what Frank brings into her life, and she ends up killing herself. And this makes Frank very angry because it broke the deal that they had. So he decides to. It decides. I keep saying he. To go on a course of bloody revenge, basically all on a path through all the people who were vulnerable that Ruby's loved in the end to try to get to her little sister, the person she loves the most in the world. And it was a really fun film. I loved the process of making a short film because I think that it's in some ways more challenging because you have to get a lot in a small amount of time. You need a twist, you need to suck people in, you need to still tell a story. And I was like, well, you know, what if I did something that incorporated what a short film would be? So they're almost like 5 individual films, but like you said, it isn't a classic anthology because everything is connected and it's all around the one story, same monster. But you get to really see these 5 different scenarios, and Bonnie kind of unfolds it through her eyes, and you get to see what. And I also wanted to touch on the ripple effect of, you know, what suicide is, and seeing like the pain that Ruby has to go through, and you know, really feel for her, but at the same time, it also touches on what suicide can do to all the other people in your life who you love and care about. And obviously I used a monster in that analogy, which is not classic, you know, but I just thought if the film had some sort of underlying message, I thought that would be something that's important and, you know, thought-provoking. So it was a super fun film. I tried to do each section because when I would watch anthologies, if you have the same director, sometimes it can be paced very similar. And if there's different directors, sometimes it can be, you know, a little bit more all over the place. And I really wanted it to feel like interesting, and each section kind of visually has its own thing, but it also very cohesive. So I tried, the first story is very, you know, a lot of cuts, a lot of excitement. And the second story is very paced. And I think there's a scene where I don't cut for 3.5 minutes, and it's very fly on the wall. And then, you know, and then the third scene, story, I wanted it to feel very a classic horror film, like Scream or something, where it's very, you know, and just kind of, I wanted it to have, and then like the fourth one, I wanted it to feel almost like an indie romantic, you know, film that's very, very bizarre and not at all that. But I thought that was kind of fun. And then the last story, once again, to kind of go back to like the roots of like having a seance and a more classic horror
on
vibe.
Halloween.
On Halloween, exactly. Yeah. Well, it did take place the last.
All right, like I said, you can find that full interview with Chrissy Fox elsewhere right here on our YouTube channel, or of course at HalloweenDailyNews.com. And again, I urge you to check it out if you haven't already. It was a really fun conversation. And like I said, she's got a lot of cool stuff going on. She talks about some other feature films, another one, her next one that she's already directed that's coming out very soon, as well as another one that she produces and stars in that's coming out early next year. But another really cool thing that Krsy is involved in, and that we talked about, and that I got to recommend to you guys, is Bleeder's Digest, and that's DIE Digest. You might have heard of it if you read Bloody Disgusting. It is part of the Bloody Disgusting podcast network, and I've listened to about 4 or 5 episodes now, and it's really good stuff. What it is it's not a a talk show podcast. It is a narrative drama of horror stories, and it's all short horror stories. I think they're all less than 30 minutes long. They're usually about around 20 or 25 minutes long. Not too lengthy, and it's an anthology. Everyone is different and unique, and they've brought in a number of guest stars to do the voices. I listened to one with Scout Compton and a few other people we know, Bonnie Aarons, of course. And so it's a really cool throwback in a lot of ways to, the old radio dramas that were all there was before television, and of course long before the internet and everything. And for somebody like me, like I do a lot of photo processing down here, and I'm always listening to stuff that I can't watch, and so it's kind of the um, perfect for a scenario like that to listen to while you're driving or working, or just want to get creeped out. It's fully immersive. They've got the sound effects and everything, and like I said, some really talented people doing the voices, and it's Krsy and her fiance Spider One, and the crew from the Boo Crew podcast, and they're like collaborating on that. So if you're into podcasts, or even if you're not, you might want to give it a try, because I'm telling you, it's really good stuff. And I listened to specifically the October episodes because in the interview you'll see she recommends that I should uh, go forward from Scouts episode to listen to the Halloween episodes first. And I did exactly that yesterday, and they're great. Yeah, the Halloween week, they put out 2 episodes that were very Halloween centric. One, coincidentally, if you believe in coincidences, one is a werewolf story, and it's awesome. And another is called The Skinned Man, and that's what it's about. It's kind of a new slasher of a sort, and they would definitely make great feature films, or short films for that matter. But I could see either being made and expanded into a feature film one day. And I wouldn't be surprised if Chrissy's the one to do it, because if you watch that interview, you'll see she's definitely um, got her hand in a lot of stuff, and gets this stuff done, and not just sitting around talking about it, thinking about it. So check out that interview when you get a chance. And Krsy, thank you again so much for chatting with us this week. And of course, Frank, like I said, that is out on VOD right now. Uh, Another interview that I did this week, another awesome conversation I was lucky enough to have, is with a very talented individual named Rachel Hoffpower. And you might not recognize her name right off, but you definitely, well, most definitely, if you're watching the Halloween show, you've seen her on screen in recent weeks, because she is actually Judy Greer's stunt double in Halloween Kills. Now, I talked to Rachel this week. It was a fun interview, and Rachel actually has a really interesting tie to our local community here on the Outer Banks of North Carolina, where there's a long running outdoor drama that's been performed outside every summer for like 80 years. And it tells the story of the lost colony of Roanoke Island. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can Google it. I'm not going to go into it tonight, but it's America's first ever urban legend, America's first unsolved mystery. And and it's performed pretty much on the spot where the story takes place. Well, Rachel spent a summer working on The Lost Colony, and we talked about that in the interview, and it's a fascinating journey that she's been on in her life that led her um, basically from the Lost Colony of Roanoke Island all the way to Haddonfield, and and she was very kind to talk to us and to tell us her whole story and to share all of her experiences with you guys. It's her very first ever interview, and I was just so excited to be able to bring you guys the exclusive on this. And this is the official announcement. We posted a little something on Instagram a few days ago. If you were paying attention, you might have known this was coming. But this is the official announcement of our next Halloween Kills interview, and that will be Rachel Hoffpower. And so right now, what I'm going to do is give you guys a sneak peek. This is literally just the first few minutes of our interview, and it's a pretty wide ranging interview. Like I said, she's got a fun story, and we talk about getting into stunt work and through stage combat, and like I said, she's got some great stories about working on the set of Halloween Kills and working with Judy Greer, of course. I'm not going to tell you right now which scenes specifically she worked on. You've seen the film, you can probably imagine. But again, that full interview is going to be coming in just a few days. But right now, we're going to world premiere the first few minutes of our new exclusive interview with Rachel Hoffpower talking about, well, she's talking about Halloween. Because we like to start off our interviews with Halloween itself. You know how it's done here on HDN. So this is just a little bit of our interview. It doesn't really have the Halloween kill stuff yet. That's still to come later on in the interview. But here's the first few minutes of our new exclusive interview with Rachel Hoffpower. Rachel, welcome to Halloween
Hi.
Daily. Thank you so much for joining us today and talking to us.
Thank you for having me. This is my first interview I've ever given on anything, honestly. So I'm really, really excited to talk to you today.
Oh, well, we are super honored to be your first interview, and what an occasion it is with a little movie that we're going to talk about that you're in and we're a part of, and the movie that's out in theaters right now called Halloween Kills. And it's a great time to be talking about it and to be a fan of all things Michael Myers. And we just celebrated the Halloween holiday itself as we're recording this. It's the week after Halloween. And so we've got a lot of to talk about, and including your journey from the Lost Colony to Haddonfield, and might educate a few viewers about the Lost Colony of Roanoke Island a little bit if they don't know along the way. But we always start off with the holiday itself and a little bit about what Halloween means to you. So, do you celebrate Halloween? And did you celebrate growing up or not so much?
Definitely growing up, like I lived in a small town, loved the trick-or-treating, loved the events and everything. In my old age, I kind of don't do it as much, but I love Halloween. And I realized a while back, it's kind of because I do weird things all the time, because obviously I've become a stunt performer. I've been a circus performer. I dress up in weird costumes. I love cosplay. Don't do it as much as I wish I did, a whole lot. So I kind of view Halloween as like everyone else's opportunity to be weird and crazy and kind of step out of their comfort zone. I wasn't really able to do much this year because my work schedule, and I was on a shoot yesterday, and we had all the prep in the days before that. Last year, actually, during the pandemic, I did do a little like Kim Possible cosplay costume. I had red hair back then. That was amazing, but I literally put the costume on, took photos, took it off, went to my day job. So haven't gotten to do a whole lot of Halloween stuff lately, but I love, it's the spooky season. We get to embrace all of these weird things that I like to embrace all the time. So we love Halloween.
So in some ways, you're even more like us with every day is Halloween for you. And I've talked to other actors and performers that have said similar things, that they don't get costumed as much because they are always costumed and playing characters so often.
Yeah. And it's not always comfy. Like I was like I said, I was on a shoot yesterday and was wigged and I was in a pretty normal outfit, but you're padded up and everything, and it can be a little uncomfortable. So some nights you just don't want to go out and try and be social at the same time, so you don't want to get yourself out there. But yeah.
So going back to some of those childhood Halloweens or more recent ones, what is your favorite Halloween costume and your favorite Halloween candy?
Dots are definitely my favorite Halloween candy. I've recently rediscovered my love for gummy candies, but dots were always my favorite thing. I try to get them as much as possible. And I'm weird that I guess because I like almond joys. Some people don't, because some people don't like coconut. I love almond joys. Those are my top. I'd say my favorite Halloween costumes, I've done Harley Quinn multiple times as early as high school. I actually have a photo of me and my best friend from high school. We were at a dance as Harley and the Joker. I was just in like a store-bought Halloween costume, and it was that was a lot of fun. I actually bought a costume this past year of the Harley from the new Suicide Squad movie. But I bought it from China, so it already kind of didn't fit. So I was like, we're gonna put that away for a little bit and bust that out another time.
Right.
But awesome. Harley Quinn, because she's always been one of my favorite comic book characters and Batman villains. I don't even consider her a villain, honestly, just one of my favorite characters. So that's always been a lot of fun, is to put on a Harley costume.
Yeah, like I said, that full interview with Rachel will be up in just a couple of days. That's coming next week. But here, let me get you over here. Here you go. You can see she posted this on her Instagram. There she is with Judy Greer on the set of Halloween Kills. And again, very cool of Rachel to sit down with us and chat like she did. And we definitely appreciate that. Thank you again, Rachel, for talking to us this week. You guys are going to love this interview. So check out Krissy's right now when we're done with here. If you haven't already, go watch that one. It's definitely worth your time. And then early next week, we are going to have our full interview with Rachel Hoffpower. And like I said, that's just a small taste of what we talk about. We talk about the Lost Colony, and we talk, of course, about Halloween Kills and lots of other fun stuff along the way. All right, now we are going to do a trailer breakdown. And you guys are going to help me because we are live tonight. Now, so we're going to do a breakdown of the official trailer for The Barn Part 2. Now, those of you that don't know, The Barn is a 2016 totally independent Halloween horror film. It's a retro throwback slasher. It takes place on Halloween 1989, and it's a ton of fun. I actually just rewatched it over Halloween weekend because I was so excited when this trailer was released right before Halloween. And we did talk about it on last week's show, and I told you we'd be doing a breakdown soon. So we're going to go ahead and get into that here now. First of all, before we even get into that, just soak in this poster right here for a minute, will you? Here, let me give you a better look at it. Awesome poster art. Now, if you haven't seen The Barn, it's okay. I mean, I don't think this trailer will necessarily diminish your enjoyment of it. I mean, there are some spoilers in it, obviously, but I don't think it'll diminish your enjoyment of it. The Barn is loads of fun. It is written, directed by Justin Seaman, and this is another film like Krissy's What the Spell that played at our own Halloween International Film Festival. So obviously we are a fan of this team, of this franchise, and I've been looking forward to this sequel. It was announced way back in 2018, and now they are in post-production, and they just launched a Indiegogo crowdfunding to well, they didn't just launch it, but that is still going on, and you can pre-order the Blu-ray and DVD now. Chad, yes, check out The Barn after you get off here. Yes, you're gonna love it. It is loads of fun. This trailer for The Barn Part 2 will give you an idea of what we're talking about. It's very retro. Now the sequel, it takes place 3 years later, so it's actually in the 90s now. And we are going to pull up that trailer. Yeah, it takes place in 1992. It does have some returning cast members, and the sequel stars some genre icons that you're going to recognize too. But we'll talk about them when they get there. It is, like I said, it's in post production now. It's already been filmed, and they are planning for a 2022 release. So this is one of our most anticipated of 2022. All right, let's get to this trailer. Now, I'm going to try to have the volume on, but not too loud so that I can still kind of talk to you guys along the way. But I want to, I'll be reading your live chat comments, and I want you to chime in on your thoughts on this. And we're just going to get going with it now. I have watched it, of course, a couple of times, but we're going to be going through and knowing what we know from the first film. So here we go. trailer number 1 for The Barn Part 2. And there's a scene from the first film, of course.
It's been 3 years since Michelle survived a night of terror in the barn. Now, she's planning her sorority's annual Halloween haunted house.
I would like.
So right there, like I said, 3 years later, and it ups the setting to a sorority house. You know, the previous one took place in a small town called Weary Falls, and it had to do with the legend of the barn, where if you go trick-or-treating and you knock a certain number of times on the barn, then these demon trick-or-treaters come up from hell. And of course, that's what happens to the teenagers camping out nearby, trying to party nearby, I should say. So here we go, changing up the location to a sorority house. And again, that opening narration, as well as the title treatment, it's very retro. Like I said, that's right in line with the first Barn movie, so of course I would expect that. And this shot right here looks like it's something made in '92, and I think that's totally Justin's aim here with these films, to have them look time appropriate for where they take place. And he definitely nailed it with the Barn's look, so this looks like it's going to be similar.
To make a motion to take our annual haunt into town and relaunch Halloween.
I think on a large scale, Sam
And
and
so
Josh's
there we
haunted
go.
house
We've
would be
got
the
some plot points right there, that the town is going to relaunch Halloween. I guess after the deaths of the previous film, it was probably banned, so they're relaunching it. And this is going to be part of our plot point. And there's our lead girl, Michelle, from the first film, talking about Sam and Josh's haunt. Now, their haunt was based on the legend of the barn in the first movie. And so she's suggesting that they reopen that for this relaunch of Halloween. So you can imagine what's going to happen.
perfect way to kickstart Halloween and get back at Barnhart.
But the town busybody has other plans.
And playing the town busybody, that is none other than the iconic Linnea Quigley, of course, of Night of the Demons, Return of the Living Dead, Silent Night, Deadly Night, and many others. She appeared as Mrs. Barnhart in The Barn, and she is back once again. It looks like, and the role is even more substantial, it appears, in this film. She's kind of on a crusade to keep Halloween down and keep Halloween banned in the town, it sounds like.
The ban on Halloween, the faster we can shut down that barn party.
And here we go, talking
And
about the barn
unfortunately,
party.
The girls of Gamma
The girls of the
Outside
sorority with their
of the
beers, and you get a little
uninvited
sense of the
trick-or-treaters
party
have
there.
some plans of their own.
And they say that some trick-or-treaters have some plans of their own, and this will enter our demon trick-or-treaters from the first film. Now, they do all have significantly different looks in this film, you'll notice, and not sure if I love the new looks more per se, but definitely glad to see them back and willing to give the new looks a chance. Overall, though, the setting upgrade of this film, I love the idea of moving it into the 90s and moving it to college. But there is the Scarecrow. He is the candy corn Scarecrow, or the Straw Man.
Cornfield, Slaughter Room.
And there is the Boogeyman. He is a miner because it's explained in the first film that he was basically Satan's right-hand man digging a tunnel out from hell. That's kind of how they got there. Now, this look at him looks really great. You'll see later on there's some different looks, so I don't know how that's going to play into it. As far as the different looks of the creature, if that's part of the plot or if that's just because they were shot at different times. Maybe people are seeing them differently, they're appearing differently, but you'll see there's a different look to the Boogeyman later. Now, this one's really cool, though. Fall Guy says, and Jacko needs a Blu-ray release. Yes. Yeah, I love Jacko. Ken says it almost looks like the Scream house. It very much does, yes. Chad says, isn't Ari Lehman the first Jason? The guy that played Jason in the first film in the yes, Ari Lehman is in this film, in the barn and in the barn part 2. Yes, first Jason.
And Pumpkin.
And there is Hallow Jack, is what he was called in the first film. And again, they all have slightly different looks. This is pretty awesome. He was probably my favorite of the 3 in the first film. I think he's still going to be. It's great because no matter what they do to him, he can always possess another jack-o'-lantern. So the only way to stop him really is to go pumpkin smashing. So that's our 3 demon trick-or-treaters back with their new looks. Like I said, I'm just so used to the old looks, but I really like this on Hallow Jack.
Patrick upstairs.
And that haunted house seems to be the perfect place to make.
See, I think I just realized and answered my own question, guys. I think these are the masks that the kids are wearing. Yeah, that's the actual look that we saw a minute ago of the trick-or-treaters. But this look here, I don't think these are the actual demons. This is the barn party. This is the haunt, Sam and Josh's haunt that they had a kind of a low-budget basement version of, garage version of in the first movie. It looks like the girls are going to help them expand on this idea, and they're going to be playing these characters that are part of the local legend of this town. Only it's not just a legend. It really happened. We know, but I imagine certain people in the town, like Linnea's character, are going to be arguing otherwise. So there we go. That makes perfect sense to me of why the look was so different in some shots.
The perfect place to make a
great Hallow sphere right there. And yeah, it looks like a couple of Hallow Jacks. It looks like the costumed version is going to come jack-o'-lantern to jack-o'-lantern, shall we say, to the real version there in the right-hand corner of the screen, it appears. So this is going to be a great scene when somebody dressed up as the Hallow Jack demon trick-or-treater is actually going to come into contact with the actual creature they're portraying. And I just love that signage right there in plain view. It says, wants to carve your head. This is going to be loads of fun. And this was something else that I absolutely love about the barn. It oozes Hallowsphere. It is done with so much Halloween love throughout it. And retro Halloween love, which gives me the warm feels all the time when I see the retro glow of blow molds and just old school homemade costumes. All right, let's move on.
A new House of Horrors.
That's pretty gruesome effects. But yeah, they are opening a House of Horrors. Now this, again, that looks like the actual. And we might be getting some new demons. You see on the poster there are some new characters, some creature characters that were not featured in the first film. And this looks like it could be one of them. This kind of pig hog guy. Hog demon. Again, no telling here if this is another one of the creatures or somebody in costume. And again, the whole tone of this trailer, it's a throwback, the music, the somewhat campiness to it, very early 90s, and very much the tone of the barn. These are films that know what they are and know what they want to be, and they're not trying to be anything else. And this trailer is just unabashed about that, and I love it. Here we get a taste of some of the costumes. We'll see some more of the Hallowsphere throughout, and little teases of some of the deaths. Justin came up with some really fun deaths in the first film, and they were able to accomplish it with very little to no budget, so I can't wait to see what he does in the sequel. This has been a long time coming, this film. Like I said, it was first announced over 3 years ago.
This all-new wild...
Now, see, there we go. That's the shot I was talking about earlier, but I'm thinking now, watching this for like the third time, I think I finally figured it out. And you guys tell me what you think. This is the haunt. These are the guys dressed up to be the demons, not the actual demons. The actual demons are going to show up and take these guys out and probably replace them in the haunt, and that'll make for all kinds of awesomeness. But there they are. That's the 3 trick-or-treating demons. But yeah, that looks like a cheap recreation of them, which makes perfect sense, because those other looks we see earlier in the trailer look badass.
Wild horror adventure stars Lexi Drips.
And right down to how they give the
Mitchell Mussolino
lead actors
will
each
stout
a title
with
scene.
Linnea Quigley, Ari Lehman,
And here's our genre
Lloyd
icons. Lloyd
The
Kaufman,
Last Drive-In's Joe Bob Briggs and Diana
and of
Prince,
course Joe Bob
and
and
Hellraiser's
Diana,
Doug
and
Bradley. The
Pinhead
Barn
himself,
Part
Mr.
2.
Doug Bradley.
This year, no one can stop the harvest.
And I love this final shot. I mean, clearly an homage to Season of the Witch, Halloween 3. And that's our 3 trick-or-treaters there. Their silhouettes, unmistakable. And of course, the final narration, no one can stop the harvest.
This year, no one can stop the harvest.
This year, no one can stop the harvest. There we go. And I love that final shot right there. Just beautiful. Chad says, "Hello, Jack is awesome." Yeah. Yeah, he is. And like I said, he can possess pretty much any lit jack-o'-lantern. So that's awesome too.
Coming soon to home video.
All right. So I'm super excited for The Barn Part 2. That trailer looks amazing. It looks like it's going to honor and keep up everything they started with the first film and expand on it. We're going to get more of the 3 demon trick-or-treaters from hell. And yeah, now I'm a little more sold on their new looks because I see better what's going on. A lot of the shots in that trailer are the haunt actors, I believe, portraying the demons. And of course, that's going to just give the demons just the opening they need, just the reason they need to come back, I'm sure. And I'm sure at some point somebody's going to knock 3 times on the barn door. So what do you guys think? Let me hear your thoughts in the live chat right now. If you're watching this on replay, let me hear your down in the comments below. What do you think of this trailer? What did I miss in the trailer? Are you excited for The Barn Part 2? I'd love to hear from you. Chad says he's definitely watching The Barn 2. Yeah. Watch The Barn 1 if you haven't seen it yet. I think it's probably on Shudder. It might be on Tubi. Bloody Disgusting, I believe, has it on their new Scream box. If you've got that, it's out there streaming a number of places. Fall Guy says, love movies about local Halloween haunts. Scary Movie from '91 has loads of similar Hallowsphere. Absolutely. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of Scary Movie when it was first released, but yeah, revisiting, definitely. Oh, you're talking about the '91 Scary Movie. Very cool. Yes. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I thought you were talking about the comedy Scary Movie, the Wayans brothers comedies. But you're talking about a '91 Scary Movie with loads of similar Hallowsphere. I will definitely check that out. Chad says it is. The Barn is on Shudder and Tubi and Vudu. So there you go. Numerous chances to see that. Like I said, it's been out for like 4 or 5 years now. And I highly recommend that one. That one I watch pretty much in regular rotation come October. Like I said, this year I watched it Halloween weekend. But yeah, I think The Barn Part 2 looks like loads of fun. It's just another amazing Halloween movie that we have to look forward to in 2022. We've been reporting on a lot of them that have already been announced and are already in production or in nearing the end of production in the case of The Barn Part 2. And just like everything else we've talked about on here, you can find out more about all of those films anytime at HalloweenDailyNews.com. Fall Guys says, haha, yep, 91. Yeah, I was thinking the comedy Scary Movie, and I mean, that's got some Hallowsphere, that first one, but okay, I will check out the '91 Scary Movie, absolutely. Yeah, I'm always looking for Hallowsphere, and I you know, the more I watch films, the older I get, the more Halloween is part of my life and my everyday existence. Um, the more important the Hallowsphere in films are, and there's plenty of movies that take place on and around Halloween that don't have quite as much Hallowsphere for a number of reasons. But yeah, the more Hallowsphere, the better for sure. I love it. All right, like I said, guys, we're going to premiere our next interview, our exclusive interview with Rachel Hoffpower of Halloween Kills about stunt doubling for Judy Greer and lots of other cool stuff. And if you saw that clip earlier, I thought it was so awesome that her favorite costume is Harley Quinn, because rewatching the interview and kind of reliving it in the editing process and knowing everything that we talked about after that and a little bit of what drives her and what she's all about, it makes perfect sense because, of course, Harley Quinn is a badass character. And so for her to be so attracted to that character and that be her favorite costume, I mean, Rachel is definitely a badass. And when you see the full interview, you'll know what I'm talking about. But that makes perfect total sense. And like I said, as soon as we're done here, if you haven't watched Krissy's interview, you can check that out right now. The full interview is here on the HDN YouTube channel for you to watch. It's also available at HalloweenDailyNews.com. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and turn on those notifications because you never know when we might have a special live HDN report. There's trailers coming out. We didn't even talk about the new Scream featurette this week, just because the show's so jam-packed. If I got into that, that'd be a whole nother half hour to an hour. We'll talk about that another time. But there's a lot of cool stuff happening, and it might call for some spur-of-the-moment HDN live reports. Also, as far as the weekly Halloween shows and Michael Myers Mondays, what I said on Monday, I'm going to reiterate here, kind of the same situation. There will be some weeks off, especially during December, January time, February, and a lot of that is going to depend on the news and what comes out and what all there is to report on, and also our content and what we're releasing and what we've got to share. Of course, I like it when it's a night like this, when we've got a lot of new stuff we can share with you guys and a lot of great news we can talk about. But we're just going to play it by ear a little bit on that. But for now, you can plan on the lives on Mondays and Fridays. And but I urge you again, turn on the notifications because there might be some off days when we do that. And regardless of the weekly shows, whether or not they are on or off that week, uh, we are going to continue with fresh content here on the channel all the way through. Like every week, almost every day, you can expect new video content exclusively right here on the HDN channel, including lots more interviews. Rachel is the next one announced that I can absolutely confirm right now because it's in the can, but I can tell you there are lots more coming. We are scheduling them as we speak, and you are going to be excited when you find out who some of these people are. That's all I'm going to say right now tonight. All right. Fall Guy says, like the fake grain and slight film damage in part 1. Curious if they'll do the same in part 2. Yeah, I love that in part 1. It kept it, kind of retro feeling. And I imagine it'll be a little bit less just because it's 3 years later and he's going to want to capture a little bit cleaner 90s feel. But, I mean, that trailer still looked similar in that vein. So not quite as grainy, but so I wouldn't mind a little bit of that. But I don't think it'll have quite as much of the scratching and the popping that they had in the barn. But that's a good point. Chad's talking about Linnea's been on so many horror. Oh yeah, she's great. She's awesome. Texted with JJC today. Awesome. Tell him we said what's up. Love Mr. James Jude Courtney. All right, that is our show for this week, guys. You can find out more about everything I've talked about and lots more right now at HalloweenDailyNews.com. And like I said, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. If you enjoyed what you saw here tonight, you definitely want to turn on the notifications so you don't miss another live stream. We do trailer breakdowns. I like to do those live whenever possible. And just fun discussions and connecting with you guys. And as well, we're going to do some future unboxings. We've got lots already loaded up on the channel. We were putting stuff up fast and furious in October, so you might want to go back and see a few of the videos you might have missed in October, including our unboxings of some inflatables, some animatronics, all kinds of Halloween merch, and of course tons of Hallow hunting videos. We got more of all that coming, but in the most immediate future, some exciting interviews are going to be coming your way right here on the channel. Starting with Rachel's, well, starting right now, Krsy is our first post-Halloween 2021, so she's technically our first Halloween of 2022 guest, and Rachel's our next. So we're off to a great start, and I can't wait to bring you guys more of that type of stuff, and I'm thrilled to see that so many of you are enjoying it. So let us know your thoughts on all of this down in the comments below, and I look forward to hearing from you guys. Until then, I'm Matt Arts for Halloween Daily News. Thank you guys for watching.